Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, good morning, Miss. My name is Amy Rahmawati. My student ID number is 3321079. I'm from class 33.68.01. In this nice occasion, I will make a video for Project 2 Final Term Test Applied Linguistics. I will explain about two questions, solve all cases study. For the first problem is, Mr. Thompson is a linguist studying the use of language in news reporting. He is particularly interested in how language can convey bias, shape public opinion, and influence the perception of news events. Mr. Thompson analyzed articles from various news outlets comparing the same event to identify linguistic patterns that may indicate bias. He also considers the impact of these linguistic choices on the audience's understanding and interpretation of the news. The question is, what linguistic features should Mr. Thompson focus on to identify bias in news reporting? Discuss at least three features and explain how they can contribute to bias reported. And for the answer, to identify bias in news reporting, Mr. Thompson should focus on several key linguistic features that can convey bias, shape public opinion, and influence the perception of events. Here are three important features to consider. The first is word choices and connotation. The specific words and phrases used in a news report can carry positive, negative, or neutral connotation. Word choice can subtly influence readers' perceptions. Impact on bias. Word choices can subtly influence readers' perceptions. For instance, describing a protest as a riot versus a demonstration implies different levels of chaos and legitimacy. Using emotionally charged words can evoke strong reactions and skew readers' opinions toward a particular viewpoint. The second is framing and presentation of information. Framing refers to how information is presented, including what details are emphasized or downplayed. The way a story is framed can lead readers to interpret it in a certain way. And the impact on bias, the way a story is framed can lead readers to interpret it in a certain way. For example, focusing on the negative aspect of an event, property damage during a protest, rather than the causes or the message of the protest can lead to a biased understanding. Similarly, the order of information and the inclusion or exclusion of certain facts can significantly shape the narrative. And the last or the third is use of sources and attribution. The sources quoted or cited in a news article and how their statements are attributed. Bias can be introduced by selectively quoting sources that support a particular angle or by giving more weight to certain voices over others. Additionally, the way sources are described, an expert versus a spokesperson, can influence the perceived credibility and reliability of the information. Balanced reporting typically includes multiple perspectives, whereas biased reporting may predominantly feature sources that align with a specific viewpoint. By systematically analyzing these linguistic features, Mr. Thompson can identify patterns of bias in news reporting and assess how these patterns may affect audience perception and interpretation of events. Next, for problem 2. Imagine you are a language planner working for the government of a country with a diverse linguistic landscape. The country has several indigenous languages spoken by different ethnic groups, as well as a dominant national language used for official purposes. Your task is to develop a language policy and that promotes linguistic diversity while ensuring effective communication and national unity. The question is, how can the government promote the use and preservation of indigenous language through education? The answer: promoting the use and preservation of indigenous language through education is a multifaceted task that requires strategic planning and a commitment to valuing linguistic diversity. Here are several approaches the government can take. The first is incorporating indigenous language into the curriculum. Including indigenous language as subject in the national curriculum can help preserve and promote them. This involves developing teaching materials, training teachers proficient in this language, and integrating them into regular classroom activities. School could offer bilingual education programs where students learn both the national language and their indigenous language. Language classes can be mandatory in regions where specific indigenous languages are widely spoken. Next, for number 2, teacher training and recruitment. Providing specialized training for teachers in indigenous language ensures that they can effectively teach this language to students. Recruiting teachers from indigenous communities can also preserve cultural authenticity and respect. Establish teacher training programs focusing on indigenous language and cultures. Offer scholarship and incentives for individuals from indigenous communities to become educators. The third or the last is community involvement and support. Non-judging indigenous communities in the educational process help maintain cultural relevance and encourage community support for language preservation efforts. This can include consulting with elders and cultural leaders to develop curricula and materials, create advisory council composed of community members to guide language education initiatives, support extracurricular activities such as cultural clubs and language immersion camps to promote the use of indigenous language outside the classroom. By implementing these strategies, the government can create an educational environment that not only preserves and promotes indigenous language, but also fosters national unity and effective communication across the country's diverse linguistic landscape. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.